r/ask Reddit. What is the stupidest shit you've ever done? I called the cops on myself because I thought I saw a ghost. Was working midnight shift at an old movie theater. After the last person left, I confused the shadow of my torso reflecting onto the empty movie screen for a disembodied ghost. I ran and told the manager, and because I had planted the ghost idea in his mind, he went in, saw his shadow and decided there was in fact a ghost, and called the cops. A cop arrived. We told him what we thought we saw. He rolled his eyes at us and went into the theater. But we had planted the idea in his mind already too, and he came out with his hand on his gun and a bit pale in the face. He called more cops. A second cop arrived, went into the theater, realized we had seen our own shadows, and came out laughing his ass off at all three of us. Manager and I were embarrassed, but OMG that poor first cop. Eventually there were 10 cops there and some were laughing so hard at him that they had to support themselves on the sides of their squad cars. Between bouts of laughter, one made a spooky ghost sound, and another mimed putting him in handcuffs as they both laughed even harder, and that made all the rest of them completely lose their shit laughing. When I was a kid I had really dry eyes for a time and I told my sister. Between us we decided that the best course of action was to smear a bunch of my mum's face cream into my eyes to try and stop the dryness. This, of course, went as well as you'd expect and my eyes immediately went red and swollen, and since I couldn't blink away the thick layer of cream straight away I was convinced I was blind forever and went blundering out into the hallway crying and made it halfway down the stairs before I tripped and fell. I like to imagine my parents hearing the commotion and seeing one child rolling down the stairs screaming and crying with 2 giant lavender scented blobs of cream for eyeballs and the other child staring in horror from the top of the stairs, desperately trying to wipe the incriminating lotion off her hands. Paid $500 for bartending lesson certification and haven't tended bar once in all my 29 years or even really tried. Hit a golf ball onto a recently drained lake and decided it was playable from the mud. On my third step onto the lake I sank up to my chest. Took a chain of 3 people to pull me out, and my god the smell. Should have taken the penalty. Did you learn nothing from all the warning about quicksand we had as kids? Broke the window of the principal's office. Not on purpose. I was throwing a stone at a tree but my aim was so bad it took a 90-degree turn and went right into his window. There are no accidents. Master Oogway. Science teacher at my high school froze a baseball liquid nitrogen if I recall correctly, and tried to throw it at a wall where it would shatter. Missed the wall and threw it through a window and through the principal's windshield. When I was a kid, I took my Nintendo apart so that I could use the parts to build a remote control airplane. I used to do this with my remote control cars. Would take them apart and wanted to build a super fast one by putting a motor on each wheel, then realized I had no idea what I was doing. A lot of cheap remote controlled cars. You can make a super fast one by replacing the AA batteries with a 9V. I was 4 or 5 years old and my little brothers and I were jumping on our parents' waterbed with Q-tips in our ears cause we thought it looked funny. I was jealous that my brothers both had Q-tips that were bent in silly shapes in their ears while mine were perfectly straight. I jumped off the top of the headrest and landed ear first on the bed in an attempt to bend my Q-tip more than theirs to assert dominance as the eldest brother. A Q-tip pierced through my eardrum and went all the way inside my ear. Looking back, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone doing anything stupider than that in my whole life. This made my ears hurt. Drunkenly sold my landlord's lamps while living in her apartment. Forgot my own phone number while leaving my client a voicemail. This was yesterday. We got drunk at some chick's house who I'd never met before. The place got pretty trashed, so when she went to bring a friend home she asked if we'd clean up a bit. I'm still pretty lit at this point and see all these half full cups all over. The kitchen sink was full, so the best idea I could come up with was vacuum out the liquid and dump the cups. It makes the funniest gurgling, slurping sound I've ever heard, so I go about sucking up about 100 ounces of liquid into this vacuum. The chick comes home while I'm about 90% through all the glasses and stops dead. I turn around and look at the vacuum, which is one of those old ones with a fabric bag on it, and it's a deluge of jungle juice pouring into the carpet. I turn back to her, Completely deadpan as the concept of what's happening is only now dawning on my alcohol-soaked brain. And say your vacuum cleaner's drunk. She promptly kicked us out and I never saw the poor girl again. Moral of the story. Don't let shitty 16-year-olds get drunk at your house. You're the Zen monk who went outside at night to find his only lantern, using the light from the lantern in his hand. I knowingly walked through gang territory late into the night by myself. I accidentally cut off a car full of gang members in a supermarket car park this week. They chased me and I drove like all hell. I do this on a daily basis and you're not wrong. But all you have to do if you get confronted about it is either act like you had no idea and leave, or just be friendly about and super chill and tell the dudes that you understand, then leave. Always leave. Otherwise they'll beat the crap out of you. Waiter, how was your food? Me. I'm fine, thank you. Cashier, do you want Wonder Bag? Me. Thanks, you as well. Taxi driver, enjoy your flight. Me. You too. Tried to have a constructive conversation with someone with a differing opinion via social media. Drunkenly ate 2 Carolina Reapers. Buddy's dad grows peppers. Next thing I know I'm over the toilet puking up what felt like lava. My brother once ate a whole habanero pepper. He said it was so hot that he was farting sparks. Had a friend move in with me and my girlfriend because his depression was worsening due to living with his mom at 26. Gradually began bad-mouthing me in front of and behind my back to my girlfriend. This evolved into her going to him with things she didn't like or agree with in our relationship. This ended up leaving me virtually homeless to be with him when she kicked me out during Christmas New Year's holiday. Using my thumb to wipe the hair off my razor in the shower. Brought a BB gun to school to trade with my friend for his PlayStation. Sadly though, the BB gun looked like a real gun and was just after Columbine and I went to school in Colorado. A student saw it and reported it and shit hit the fan pretty damn hard for me in 5th grade. Got expelled for it and made the local newspaper. What about the PlayStation? He had tons of free time to play video games after he got expelled. The plan worked perfectly. A couple of years ago the 4th of July was a few days away, so all of the stores had decorations and clothes with stars or red, white, and blue. In a busy clothing store I, with no hesitation, picked up a shirt with a blue star on it, and across the clothing section I asked my mom, when is the 4th of July? You can imagine how embarrassing that was when everyone turned and looked at me. I can only think of what was going through their minds. When I was a kid, my parents were watching a show where they were finding gems, gold inside of rocks, and I obviously wanted to find gold too. So I went outside and threw a giant rock on the ground and it ended up bouncing right into our glass sliding door. Shattered. Getting addicted to heroin. Last used was June 2017 when my stuff was cut with fentanyl and I overdosed standing in line at a CVS to buy insulin needles. Good thing I didn't get a chance to put it in my arm. Kicked a years-long oxy and minor heroin addiction. Then I started smoking crack. Paid $60,000 on a house renovation without really vetting the contractor. It looks okay and they worked hard enough, but they didn't address a floor that was sagging. Now it's very noticeable and extremely hard to rectify without dismantling the entire kitchen. At least they did the work. I had one take $5,000 from me for nothing. Filed a lawsuit. He failed to show, so I got a default judgment. What good that did though, since I have no shot of getting it. Wait, so you won and you can't get your money, so people can just steal and get away with it? I was anticipating having sex for the first time and decided to completely shave my entire area down there, and when the girl saw my junk she laughed and said, "I like men, not children," and walked away. Hiding in a basement with my cousins at their house. Burning styrofoam with a lighter we stole. Decided to pour a cup or so of gasoline on it. It inevitably exploded onto us all. We all ran out of the basement while on fire. Went out pretty quickly, only burned the clothes, and ran straight to the grown-ups upstairs. Luckily they stopped the fire from spreading in the basement, and unluckily we got the ass whooping of a lifetime. Fun fact: mixing styrofoam and gasoline is one way to create napalm. Ate a habanero pepper when I was dehydrated and overheated. I had dry chapped lips, no saliva in my mouth, and I was spent. I picked up what I thought was a pepper and sino up from a Papa John's pizza box. It was in fact not what I thought it was. It was a habanero pepper, and it melted my face. My mouth hurt, burned, ached, blistered, and no amount of water was helping. I suffered for 3 hours. It was the most traumatic moment of my life. Water does not help. You need milk to stop it, or something fatty. In high school, I was early for my 0 period class and I was sitting in the hall with another guy. He had the idea to try a push-up clap. Basically a push-up. But on the way up, you push harder so you get off the ground and clap your hands while you're in the air. Well, he did it. So naturally I wanted to give it a try. I ended up getting my fingers stuck together while I was in the air. Then I panicked and pulled them apart. And then I fell on my face. First I laughed. Then I started bleeding and went to the nurse's office. Unfortunately she was an early too. I ended up being gone most of the day to get a couple stitches. I had a test that day though. So I went back for the last 15 minutes of the school day, aced it, and then left. That's my weird flex for the day. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.